From the first day he laced up his tattered skates and stepped on the ice, Paul Henderson knew what he wanted to be: an NHL player. Perhaps in his dreams, he was a star, maybe even a hero. But neither Paul nor anyone else could have imagined an event years later that would rock an entire nation and in one incredible moment send it into hysteria. In that instant, the kid from Lucknow became far more than a hero. He became a legend, and legends never die.
Marnoyer has it on that wing. Here's a shot. Henderson made a wild stab work spell. Here's another shot. Right by the score. Henderson has scored for Canada. And Canada has won the series.
Decades after it happened, no other goal in history is talked about with such passion. The goal of the century secured Paul Henderson's place in hockey lore. But there's much more to his story. January 1943. The world is mired in the Second Great War. Among the Canadians called to serve is Garnet Henderson, an intimidating, burly man from Lucknow, Ontario, a small town on the outskirts of Lake Huron. Shipped to England as a military policeman, Garnet leaves behind his young wife, Evelyn, near term with their first child. A fierce winter storm whipped Lucknow and the other farming communities of Bruce County, encasing them in a shroud of snow 10 feet deep. While visiting Garnet's sister Alma and his parents, Will and Irene Henderson, Evelyn realized she was snowed in and would have to spend the night. Then the unexpected happened.
Everything was perfectly normal till 2 o'clock in the morning, really. She said she had a pain, and that was really the start of the whole night.
With the roads blocked and the doctor unable to come, Will Henderson devised a plan. He and Irene would take Evelyn by horse-drawn sleigh to Kincardine Hospital, some 10 miles away. The most direct route would take them across the frozen but unproven ice of Lake Huron.
Mother was afraid the ice might separate, and she's afraid the baby might come out there.
Bundled in buffalo blankets, heated stones, and hay, her pain increasing by the minute, a frightened Evelyn set out on her icy journey. Will Henderson drove the horses harder than he'd ever driven them. Despite the darkness of night, he managed to navigate around the treacherous ice moguls that had formed on the lake. But with the lights of Kincardine Hospital in view, he realized his effort had fallen short. Evelyn's baby had arrived, a boy. Nurse Lexi Bell was on duty that night.
There were 2 doctors there, and they brought her and the baby, and somebody put the baby into my arms. And he was all dirty and straw sticking all over his forehead, his face, his chest. I felt he was just like Jesus, a baby in the manger.
Just when Evelyn gave birth remains a mystery. The community called it a miracle. Weeks later, at a very emotional church service, family and friends tearfully celebrated the christening of Paul Garnet Henderson. His life on ice had begun. The Goal, the Paul Henderson story, returns after these messages.
It was on our second date, and Paul came out and said, you're the girl I intend to marry. And I thought of that, aren't you conceited?
Paul was pretty cocky, full of confidence. That was one of his strengths.
Everyone went crazy. They were climbing up the gutters trying to get on the deck to hang pictures. Unbelievable how crazy it went all night. It never stopped. Just the invasion of not being able to go out without signing up teen autographs, not even being able to take the kids to McDonald's or go to the grocery store or whatever, just to go on living life as what you had.
I think he started to feel a little of the pressure that they wanted him to score this big goal every night.
Well, Paul just seemed very miserable to me as I watched the interviews on television. The Lord just gave me a real concern for him, and so I started to pray for him.
It seemed to me miraculous the way he was born, miraculous the way he got into hockey and had that speed. I don't think any of it was done by Paul's own power. I think God was there through the whole lifetime of that boy.
The Goal, the Paul Henderson story, coming soon to home video and DVD.